Jonathan Safran Foer, Eating Animals. Embark on a thought-provoking journey as we delve into the riveting book Eating Animals, authored by Jonathan Safran Foer. The summary will explore the heart-wrenching practices and consequences of factory farming, touching upon the lives of chickens, pigs, and fish alongside the environmental and ethical implications of these actions. Discover how unsustainable practices indulge in animal cruelty, the impact on the environment, and the role that economic factors play in these scenarios. As you engage in the summary, be prepared to face some hard-hitting facts that are bound to make you reevaluate your food choices and consumption habits.
Factory farming's dirty secrets. Chickens in factory farms are split into broilers and layers, bred solely for meat or eggs, respectively. Their artificially accelerated growth rates render them unfit for life outside these farms. Layers endure tiny living spaces, stacked up to 9 stories high, while broilers huddle in massive flocks, both experiencing intense stress. To prevent birds from further harming each other in their distressed states, their beaks are removed with scorching blades, limiting their ability to explore their world. When slaughtered, these young birds often suffer terribly from ineffectual stunning machines. The meat is then soaked in a bath teeming with fecal matter and pathogens to increase its weight by 20%, offering the poultry industry significant profit as consumers unknowingly buy tainted chicken loaded with harmful bacteria. Factory farming's dark side. On factory farms, pigs endure immense suffering as their natural behaviors are harshly restricted. Specifically, pigs cannot indulge in their species-specific habits, such as exploring, playing, or socializing in hay. Sows undergo continuous hormonal manipulations to maintain pregnancies and are confined to narrow gestation crates, preventing them from nesting or preparing for their piglets. Newborn piglets experience immediate pain, with tails and teeth removed to prevent stress-induced biting. Additionally, piglets are castrated without anesthesia to cater to consumer preferences. These animals are initially housed in stacked wire cages, where waste falls onto other pigs below. As they grow, the living spaces become increasingly cramped, an industry practice for faster weight gain. The smaller, less profitable piglets often suffer violent deaths, such as being forcefully struck on the head. Sadly, some piglets survive this cruelty, left with horrifying injuries and enduring immense pain. The dark reality of fishing industry. The modern fishing industry and fish farming practices bring efficiency at the cost of immense fish suffering and environmental damage. Fish, often viewed as commodities rather than individual animals, face cruel treatment and a foreseeable catastrophic collapse of all fished species. In fish farming, unhealthy conditions lead to high death rates, while pre-slaughter starvation and painful killing are common. Wild fish populations face detrimental fishing methods with high bycatch rates. Trawling, primarily for shrimp, results in 80 to 90% bycatch and destroys the ocean floor, while long lines, another prevalent method, kills millions of unintended sea animals annually. These brutal techniques leave fish to suffer prolonged agony, raising ethical and environmental concerns in the fishing industry. Dark side of factory farms. Factory farms have replaced traditional farming roles with automation, leaving only desk jobs and menial tasks like slaughter. The low-paying, high-stress work environment often leads to sadistic behavior towards suffering animals. Reports of egregious cruelty to chickens, pigs, and other animals are all too common. Unsurprisingly, 32% of inspected slaughterhouses reported deliberate acts of cruelty. Managers often overlook these brutal actions, resulting in a lack of appropriate consequences or legal action. Meat's impact on environment. Choosing whether to eat meat greatly affects the environment, with livestock producing significantly more greenhouse gas emissions than the transportation sector. Omnivores generate 7 times the emissions compared to vegans. As meat-heavy diets become more popular worldwide, particularly in countries like China, emissions will continue to rise. The increasing meat consumption in developing countries, facing food and water shortages, is also alarming. It is projected that by 2050, the food diverted to livestock could feed 4 billion people. Moreover, animal farming consumes vast amounts of water. In China, it accounts for 50% of total water usage. In the US, animal farming creates 87,000 pounds of feces per second, mostly from factory farms, leading to extreme pollution, even poisoning millions of wild fish. Excessive waste, 160 times more toxic than untreated sewage, pollutes rivers and negatively affects the health of those living nearby. Overall, the environmental problems associated with meat consumption are not confined to developing countries but have severe global consequences. Food industry's hidden influence. The food industry yields significant power over public institutions, much like tobacco companies once did. For instance, the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, balances its responsibility of promoting national health through nutritional guidelines with supporting the agricultural sector, resulting in conflicting interests. Furthermore, the lack of strict laws governing the treatment of farm animals allows shady practices to thrive. Astonishingly, even extreme animal cruelty may be deemed legal if it becomes widely adopted within the industry. Additionally, despite numerous prestigious institutions advocating against the excessive use of antibiotics on livestock due to diminishing effectiveness and pathogen resistance, the strong food industry presence has successfully opposed such a ban in the U.S. Overall, it's critical to be aware of these behind-the-scenes influences and their consequences for public health and animal welfare. The hidden cost of cheap meat. The affordability of meat today is a result of factory farming practices that keep prices low at the expense of animal welfare. Over the past 50 years, while housing and car prices have surged by 1,500%, the cost of eggs and chicken meat has barely doubled. This is because factory farms pass on many of the hidden costs, such as waste treatment, antibiotic development, and virus management, to society. However, the main reason for cheap meat is the complete disregard for animal well-being. Traditional, small-scale farming methods that ensure an animal's welfare would make the present-day levels of meat consumption unaffordable. Instead, we subject countless animals to extreme confinement, excessive chemical usage, and immense suffering to keep meat prices low. The true cost of this cruelty remains unaccounted for, as the morally appalling methods of meat production are often hidden from the public eye. Factory farming's hidden dangers. Our current factory farming system not only perpetuates sickness but could easily trigger a catastrophic event. A staggering 83% of chicken meat sold has been found to be infected with dangerous pathogens like Salmonella or Campylobacter, leading to millions of foodborne illnesses in the U.S. alone. The excessive use of antibiotics in factory farms, around 25 million pounds annually for non-therapeutic purposes, contributes to the rise of antibiotic-resistant pathogens. Experts warn that the conditions in factory farms, cramped spaces, unsanitary surroundings, and sick animals, make them the perfect breeding ground for a global super flu. The World Health Organization asserts that the world is long overdue for another influenza pandemic, similar to the devastating Spanish flu of 1918, which originated from an avian influenza. Humans, pigs, and birds are particularly vulnerable to each other's flu viruses, as strains can easily mutate into new and deadly diseases. Factory farming isn't just harmful to the animals involved, it poses a severe threat to human health and global safety. Unveiling animal intelligence. Dogs are often viewed as intelligent, emotional companions that can experience pain and fear like humans. This makes it difficult for people, especially in Western cultures, to consider consuming them. But why do dogs receive this special status? Pigs, for instance, possess intelligence exceeding that of dogs and chimpanzees. They collaborate in teams, communicate with each other, and rescue their fellow pigs when in trouble. Similarly, fish and chickens show advanced intelligence that we once overlooked. Fish develop relationships, utilize tools, and interact socially, while chickens demonstrate intellect on par with mammals, and perhaps even primates. All of these creatures, like dogs, also experience pain and fear. The affection and special status we afford to dogs can be attributed to our sentimental connection with them. However, rationally, we should extend the same consideration to the welfare of pigs, chickens, and fish, acknowledging their intelligence and capacity to suffer. Ethical eating, choosing vegetarianism. Embracing vegetarianism is an ethical and rational choice for those concerned about the environment, animal welfare, and global health issues. Our food decisions greatly impact the world, and opting for a plant-based diet can help diminish the influence of the environmentally harmful meat industry. Although ethical meat sources exist, most available meats are likely factory farmed and contribute to the continuation of inhumane practices. Avoiding factory-farmed products and supporting specialized farms can pave the way towards a more honorable omnivorous lifestyle. Choosing vegetarianism goes beyond personal desires and reflects a thoughtful consideration of the greater impact our food choices have on our planet and its inhabitants.
As we reach the end of the summary for eating animals, it's evident that factory farming practices are not sustainable, humane, or environmentally friendly. Animal cruelty, global health threats, and disastrous impacts on the environment are some of the key takeaways associated with our current methods of farming. Furthermore, a conflict of interest within governing bodies and the influence of powerful food industries propel these unethical practices. The stark reality is that vegetarianism seems to be a more ethically viable option in addressing many of these concerns. This book serves as a wake-up call, urging us to reassess our food choices and to place a higher priority on compassion, ethics, and the future of our planet.